Algebra 1, linear function, simultaneous linear function. Today, we talk about how to solve the simultaneous linear function. There are a few methods of solving it. One called substitution method. Substitution method is assume one equation is linear, another is also linear. Why we assume that way? Because substitution method actually works for nonlinear too. So here we talk about linear case. Okay, the form is y equals mx plus b. Conveniently, y is given, and another one is more general form, by equals c. So naturally you think about putting this y into this y, so you get only x only equation, so we can solve it. So we get ax plus b, mx plus b. So we expand this ax plus b, mx plus b, b equals c. Move this bb is here. Okay, by now I hope you are used to using those parameters. Here the m, b, small b are all parameters, right? This is a parameter. Okay, the some number actually given. It's not unknown value here, because the reason why it's not unknown is we're not trying to find those values, because we assume those values are given. Okay, those values are given. We just don't use that given value right now to solve it. So you look at this, a plus b m x equals c minus bb. So you divide both sides by bm, you get x. We bring this x back here, then we get y, right? So this is a substitution method. Here's example. Y equals 3x plus 2 to y equals 4x minus 6. So you substitute this y with 3x plus 2. This equation, follow this arrow, become like this. This simplify, then you get x. Once you get the x, you plug in this x to the y equation, you get the y. Okay, this is a substitution method. Now, we introduced the elimination method already in a previous video. Here we look at one more time and compare the difference between substitution and elimination. Elimination method is, suppose you have a two general form. Okay, substitution method, if you want to use a substitution method, you have to change one of form into y equals or x equals. To change this y equals, b1y equals c1 minus a1x, right? Because you move this over here. Okay, and then y equals c1 b1 minus a1 b1 x. Here you go. Then you can use substitution method. But elimination method, you don't do this. What you do is you multiply equation b by a1 over a2. So what's happened is, you look at the coefficient. Coefficient is a2 become a1, and the b2 become this, and c2 become this. Okay, you align the coefficient. Okay, align coefficient means once you get the same coefficient, you know you can subtract from A the equation C, or vice versa. Okay, then X disappear, right? You subtract, X disappear. The only things you left is B1 minus this guy, Y equals C1, this guy, minus this. So you get the Y, right? Because you divide both sides by this term, you get Y. Once you get the Y, you plug in that Y, then you can get X. So this is called elimination method. The key word is align coefficient, so that you can subtract and eliminate one of unknown value. Okay, so that's the difference between substitution. Substitution is how to eliminate one of unknown value is by substitution. You enter this into this, right? Now from here we talk about the matrix and determinant, and this is actually some of them is a college level math, and some high school teach this a little bit, the introduction. So it's your choice. You can skip this part. It doesn't really affect the learning algebra 1 and probably algebra 2 all the way to calculus. It doesn't affect at all. This is a new branch of math, and in the college you start using this for various other reasons, not for the reason of learning algebra 2 or calculus or even geometry class. Actually you don't use it. So if you like it, you can skip it. But if you're interested in the math, it's a little bit of introduction. It's you get the flavor of it. Okay, so what is a matrix? Matrix is a collection of number. So use this kind of bracket, or sometimes use round shape. This is 2 by 2. You have a 2 in row and you have a 2 in column. So column and the row you have number, and this kind of number, collection of number, is considered as expanded number, new number. Okay, and the entire math can be constructed on top of this kind of number. It's not so far you learned the number, what integer, rational number, irrational number, and imaginary number, right? I. Okay, that's what you learned so far before algebra 1. Now there is a matrix number. Okay, later you may learn vector number, the expanded number in the math. So this is called new number matrix. And how do you do addition on the matrix? Of course it has to have a same number of number, otherwise you cannot do it. The matrix, when you add each element is added together, so it's create a new matrix number. How do you do multiplication? The definition is you multiply this with this and multiply this with this. So this one and this one goes here. Okay, and you multiply this with this and this and this. So this one and this one is a crossing is this location, so it's get here. For example, if you go this and this, the crossing point is here, so that's the number. So you create a new matrix number. Anything useful to do this? Well, yeah, there are plenty of things you can do with this multiplication definition. We also allow multiplication of different size, because as long as number of elements in a row is same as number of elements in column, you can do multiplication, right? 1 times 5 plus negative 2 times 3. So the result is the column only matrix. Okay? And why we talk about matrix? Because here you go. Suppose you have a general form of linear equation. Okay, coefficient. You collect the coefficient. 1, negative 2, 1, negative 2, 3, 5, 3, 5. And use the multiplication equals coefficient 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, so if this is a matrix, this guy, and this is unknown matrix value, and this is a coefficient C, you can write very simple form, right? And we define inverse matrix. Inverse matrix is if you multiply, it become matrix 1, 0, 0, 1. The 1 exists in diagonal direction and everything else is 0. This is called unit matrix. You multiply inverse matrix, become unit matrix. That is a inverse of matrix A. And if you find this one, what it does is you multiply that from both sides. Right? Then this become a unit matrix. Unit matrix times xy is going to be, again, it's x and y. So this is going to be just 8x matrix. So what's happened is, once you know how to find the inverse matrix, then you can get x equals value, y equals value, right? So solving simultaneous linear equation is, the problem is changed into finding inverse matrix. When the matrix is given, you collect the coefficient, make a matrix, and you find inverse matrix. Then multiply this guy to it. That's the answer. Simple, right? So problem changed to finding inverse matrix. The solving simultaneous equation is to find the inverse matrix. How you find the inverse matrix? Inverse matrix is given by this. It's called a determinant. What is a determinant? Use this absolute notation. The is when matrix A, B, C, D, determinant is single value, AD minus BC. AD multiply minus BC. Okay? And inverse matrix is given by this formula. And what's happened to this matrix? It's going to be this way. You look at this position here, then this gonna be the this element. You take this position, then this gonna be this element. You take this position, okay, then I believe this is the opposite. This is C and B. Take this, but since it's the other position means this is 1 and 1. This is 2 and 2. This one is 1 and 2, right? The first row, second, this is other position. You have to negate it. Well, there are certain rules. The rule come from the formula of how to calculate determinant of any matrix. How to expand. Okay, so that comes from this rule. So once you know this matrix, inverse matrix is this inverted matrix and divide by determinant. Okay, so for example, just a flavor of it, say A is 3 by 3. Okay, determinant is calculated by this multiply plus this and this multiply plus this and this multiply minus this direction, this and this multiply, and this multiply, and this and this multiply. Well, the general rule is this one. If you're interested, you can look at the details. It's getting a little complicated, but determinant is a single number, and once you know the determinant, you plug in here and take a proper component according to the rule, then you get inverse matrix. The point here is the calculation of inverse matrix become mechanical. Once calculation becomes mechanical, then what can we do? We write a computer program, right? And the computer program can calculate it. And that's how computer solved simultaneous linear equation. Okay? And this is actually, there is an improved method. The computer science engineer figure out much easier way to write a computer program. And what it is elimination method. This is much easier to write a program. So computer can solve simultaneous linear equation easily. What it does is you check second equation and check the coefficient and figure out what is necessary to align the coefficient and multiply that number to every coefficient, then eliminate it. So the way it works is like you have a coefficient and they eliminate this, becomes 0, you do same thing here, becomes 0. So you have this, so you get this value, then go backward, change the coefficient and subtract this. Since these are 0, it doesn't affect here, so this will become 0. Let's say different, 0 0 0 0 0 0. So step by step, actually they can make diagonal matrix. Okay, so diagonal matrix is sufficient to solve this simultaneous linear equation. The computer program is systematic. Look at the first coefficient and determine this coefficient and subtract, and this becomes 0. Then this subtract here too, right? Then this becomes 0. Then next one, make this 0 and go backward, make this guy 0, 0, 0. So equivalent set of equation is created. Of course, in the way, you have to pay attention to the indeterminate solution. We talked about that in the previous video. And impossible solution, it doesn't exist. Those, the program need to take care of it. Other than that, program is not that complicated. It's straightforward. The computer solve simultaneous linear equation. Okay? I hope you're getting more interested in this math algebra, and that lead to the computer programming, how computer solved those math equation. You have a basic understanding, and that makes this math more interesting, I hope. Thanks for listening.